see. It's been a couple of months. Last time I recorded, I was excessively pregnant. I don't remember how pregnant, but clearly somebody is here now. So I thought I would finally get on here and record my labor story. First things first, let's do introductions while he's eating. This is Mr. Owen Charles. We'll do a little bit better introduction here when he's done eating, because right now if I take the bottle out of his mouth, he's going to lose his mind. He is 7 weeks old as of yesterday, so it's been a little while. He is a big guy, so I'll go into my labor story and then I'll kind of give you guys an update on him, how he is now, and all that good stuff. So let's just jump right into it. So as some of you guys know, I had a scheduled C-section. The reason for my scheduled C-section was because I have a small brain aneurysm, and we were a little, well, we being me, Scott, some of the family, we were concerned that going into labor and having him naturally, I would end up creating an issue where I made the brain aneurysm bigger, plus Owen was measuring pretty big. We were expecting him to be anywhere between 8.5 to 9.5 pounds when he was born, so the doctor agreed, yep, no problem, we'll go ahead and do a C-section. So my due date, if anybody remembers, was February 27th of this year. We scheduled my C-section for February 22nd. And that's when I ended up having it. Everything went as planned. So in the couple of weeks leading up to the day that I was going in for my C-section, I could barely walk from the living room to the bathroom. And if you know my house, you know my house is not very big. And that was because I was having so much ridiculous pain. SPD, or what's another word? There's another term for it too. SPD was symphysis, pubic dysfunction. So basically, when you're pregnant, your body creates a hormone called relaxin, and it's meant to relax your joints and muscles and stuff to kind of assist with getting bigger and growing a human. Well, mine created too much relaxin, which isn't a huge deal. It's not like a medical condition. Well, it is a medical condition, but it's not like anything serious. It just made it so that my pelvic bones, the muscles and ligaments there were too relaxed. So when I'd go to walk, my ligaments would kind of pop out of place, and it was excruciating, to the point where I couldn't walk or stand up. I could walk to the bathroom, but usually there was a lot of unnecessary cursing between here and there. So I was pretty uncomfortable and quite a bit of pain. I was also quite large. I'll go ahead and insert the last weekly bump picture that I took here. So as you can see, I was quite large. I'm 5'2", normally 120, 130 pounds. When we checked in for my C-section, I was 172 pounds, so I was uncomfortable. So skip to, nothing exciting happened in there. I just didn't go anywhere. I didn't do a whole lot because I couldn't. So skip to February 22nd. We got up bright and early, well, dark and early. We had to be there for the C-section at 6 a.m. Yeah, I think it was 6 a.m. So got to the hospital. Our hospital only has a few entrances open right now because of COVID. So the maternity entrance wasn't open. So we went to the main entrance, got our temperatures taken there. I was put in a wheelchair. Scott put me in a wheelchair immediately because I couldn't walk. So we went straight up to labor and delivery. They checked me in, got my weight. That's how I know I was 172 pounds when we got there. I don't think they did anything else. They took my temperature, but that's part of COVID. And then they put us in this teeny tiny little room just to prep for the C-section, wait for the doctor to come in and everything. So we went into our little room. I changed into my gown. I was pretty nervous. But the funny thing is I was nervous about the spinal block. I wasn't nervous about the C-section. I wasn't nervous about the baby coming, anything like that. I was just nervous about the spinal block. So they got me into a gown, put monitors on my belly, and we just sat in there and hung out. I'm pretty sure they probably took my pulse and blood pressure. I don't remember for sure, but I'm sure they did. And all of that was good. So we just hung out. I've got a couple of pictures from that morning. No, I've only got one picture from that morning that I'll insert here, just of Scott and I hanging out, waiting for them to take me back for surgery. So when the time came, a little bit before the time came, my doctor came in, Dr. E. She just came in, checked on me. Hey, good morning, how you doing? And just kind of gave me a little run through of what was going to happen. They were going to take me into the operating room, take Scott into a different room. They would get me prepped for the spinal block and for surgery. And then once they made sure I was good and numb, that's when they were going to bring Scott in. So that was just, my doctor is very quick and to the point. She comes in, we're going to do this, this, and this. Okay, see you in there. We're done. I love her. I love that she's to the point. She's very quick and to the point, but she also listens and pays attention. So once she left the room, it went super quick. It was probably not even 5-10 minutes. One of the nurses came in to get me and to take Scott into the other room. So it took me, it was literally down the hall, just a couple of doors down the hall to the operating room. That's where I got real nervous. So they took me in there. Super nice people. Everybody in that operating room was ridiculously nice. They were all real calm. Told you every step of what they were going to do. So the main nurse that I had that was really kind of focused on me and talking to me, she took me over. She said, okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to sit you on the table. They're going to prep you with iodine, and then they're going to insert the spinal block. I'm trying to remember. I don't think they numbed it first. I think they just put the spinal block in. They may have numbed it first, and I just don't remember. But she had kind of prepped me beforehand. She said, we're going to put it in. After a minute, I'm going to count to 3. And immediately after I get to 3, I'm going to turn you and lay you down right away. So I guess that's because the spinal block starts to kick in real quick. So she had me, you got to sit forward if you've ever had a baby, or know somebody that's had a baby and you know a little bit about it. When you get an epidural or you get the spinal block, they have you kind of curve over a pillow. So I had to basically curve my spine and push it out as far as I could so that they could get it placed properly. So the nurse kind of held my shoulders, talked me through it. I didn't panic or freak out. I was just pretty nervous about it. And they did the 1, 2, 3, turned me and laid me down really fast. And it started kicking in immediately. Right away, I couldn't really feel my toes or my feet. So they laid me down, they're asking me, the anesthesiologist was asking, are you okay? How are you feeling? Everything's okay? All that stuff. And doing all around me, there's a ton of people around me doing what they've got to do. There was so many nurses in there. We had a couple nurses that were in there for me. There was a couple nurses that were in there for when the baby came out. And then of course the doctors, my doctor and another doctor from her practice were in there. And then the anesthesiologist. So they get me laid down. They put up the curtains. So they had a blue curtain and a clear curtain kind of like from my chest going up so that I couldn't really see them cutting into me or anything. So the anesthesiologist was reminding me what we're going to do is we're going to make sure you're nice and numbed up. The doctor's going to tell you that they're giving you a pinch. If you don't feel the pinch, you're good and numbed. That's when they'll bring your husband in. Okay, no big deal. So I'm laying there. They get me all prepped and ready. I could still feel my feet and my legs, but not like normal. Like I could still wiggle my toes, but I couldn't feel anything. So the doctor says, okay, pinch. And the anesthesiologist tells me, okay, she's doing your pinch now. And at the same time, a nurse had gone to get Scott to come in. So the pinch was actually the doctor cutting into me. So as Scott walked in, he saw her cutting into my belly. I didn't feel a thing, so whatever. So he came right up to my head. He sat down, checked on me. How are you feeling? How are you doing? Assuming we got into that room, we'll say I got into the operating room a little bit early. So we'll say I got in there at 7:15. They did the cutting. All I could feel was a little bit of like movement, tugging and pressure, not anything uncomfortable. And then after a little bit, I'm trying to remember. It was just really fast, and they have you on so many meds right after that I'm still kind of cloudy on some of it. So I don't remember every single second how everything went, but I remember hearing noises like the fluid that came out. And then I remember before, I think it was at my last appointment or second to last appointment before the C-section, the doctor had told me there will come a point during your C-section where you're going to feel like you can't breathe. Just continue breathing. You can breathe. You just feel like you can't. So that made me nervous. I wasn't quite sure what she meant there, but I figured it out. So Scott actually got a lot, well, not Scott. Scott handed his phone off to a nurse, and one of the nurses got a ton of pictures of them actually pulling Owen out of me. So there's one point, they're live photos on an iPhone. So there's one point where you can see my doctor kind of lower down, holding, I think she had her hands inside of my belly, and the other doctor had her fists balled up kind of right under my ribs, pushing down to kind of move him out. That's when I felt like I couldn't breathe because there was so much pressure. It still didn't hurt. It was just a lot of pressure. But ultimately, I'll put in a couple pictures here. So if you're squeamish, I'm going to put in the not disgusting ones. But if you're squeamish, I would go ahead and skip forward a little bit. But it was quick. I will, like I said, we'll say I went in at 7:15 into the operating room. And then from that point, from going in, walking into the operating room, when they got me seated, they did the iodine, they put the spinal block in, laid me down, all of that. Owen was born at 7:54 a.m. So 7:54 a.m. on February 22nd, 2021. He's looking at me. He was born perfectly healthy. They held him up right away. They dropped the blue curtain so that only the clear curtain was there, so that I could kind of look up, see him, reach up, kind of hold his hand through the curtain, just all of that fun stuff. So they got him out perfectly fine. They had Scott go over so that they could, as they were kind of wiping him down and weighing him and doing all of that stuff, Scott was over with him. So that went good. Scott said for, even since before I was pregnant, I'm not cutting the cord. I'm not cutting the cord. That's gross. I'm not doing it. He cut the cord. So that all went perfectly. Little Mister here was born at 8 pounds, 15 ounces, so barely under 9 pounds. He was 21¼ inches long, so super tall. And born perfectly healthy, no issues. They did all of his tests. They did his hearing tests while we were in the hospital. They did his vision. They did all of his breathing tests, all that stuff. Everything was great. So, born perfectly healthy. They brought him over to me after they had him wiped down a little bit, put him on my chest so that I could kind of snuggle him, do some skin to skin while they closed me up. Within probably a minute or two of them laying him on my chest, I felt something trickling up my shoulders because I was laying down. So I felt it running this way. He peed on me the second he laid on me. So that's how this is gonna go. And of course, like everybody says, it was love at first sight. So my little guy that we waited for and tried for and went through all those shots and appointments and medications and all of that stuff for was finally here. So of course I was super, super happy. Yeah. So from there we went on to recovery. So I'm gonna go ahead and burp him real fast and then we'll go into recovery here. Okay, good and burped. So little man's gonna join us for the rest of the video until he starts fussing. So obviously from labor and delivery, they got him, put him on my chest. They kind of wiped me off a little bit since somebody decided to TT all over me, and they moved me to recovery. So they didn't immediately have a room open and ready to go for me, so they took me into the alternative birthing suite, which was pretty interesting. So it was I'm sure a lot of you guys already know what those are, but at our hospital it was a huge room There was it looked like a king size bed, king or queen size bed. There was the tub so that you could do water birth. There was the exercise ball, the peanut ball, there was like a swing thing in there. It was interesting, weird to me, but that's where we hung out for a little bit, just waiting for our room to be ready. So that's where the nurses followed us up, my nurse, and the nurses for Owen. So they took us up there. They took him, did their things they had to do with him. We did vaccinate, so he did get a couple of his shots while we were in that room. Didn't make a sound. He barely, when they pulled him out and cleared his airways and everything, he kind of made like a little and that was it. Not another peep out of the kid. And so they did his shots. He didn't make a sound. They brought him back to me, and immediately we started trying to nurse. He did okay. He did pretty good. He's not a great latcher, and we have at this point switched over to formula. As you saw, I was bottle feeding him. But I'll get more into why in my next video. But I will say we did give him his first formula bottle while we were still in the hospital before we were released after I had him, because he was struggling to latch. And obviously I had just had him, so my milk hadn't quite come in yet, and he was just really fussy and hungry. So we felt awful and gave him something. But I did continue nursing him after that. And like I said, we'll get into the reason that we did completely stop in my next video. So from that recovery room, I was doing okay. I had no pain. I couldn't feel anything still because of the spinal block. So they did eventually get a room open. They moved us to our room. I don't remember a ton about that. I do remember moving rooms, but really nothing too exciting or interesting happened from there right away. We just got to our room, got to order something to eat because I hadn't been able to eat yet because obviously I was going in for a surgery. So we got something to eat, and we got to just kind of hang out. Obviously because of COVID, we couldn't have any visitors, but I did. Oh no, that lip. What's the matter? He doesn't like the thought of COVID. So because of COVID, I couldn't have any visitors, but Scott was allowed to be in the hospital with me. We did find out that he would be able to leave and come back, no problem, as long as I had tested negative for COVID, because I did have to go in a couple days. The Friday before the Monday that I had him, I had a COVID test and it was negative. So he was able to come and go as he pleased. So he was able to come back home and let little Miss Belle out and come back. So he did that. He did come home. He let her out. We got something to eat, just kind of relaxed. And then the spinal block started wearing off. So that was fun. It wasn't the pain that was driving me crazy. It was the itching, because I was pretty much numb from the belly button down. So as that wore off, my legs itched like crazy. It was driving me nuts. And I had those cuffs on my legs, on my calves, to keep, where they like air up and let go to keep the blood flowing so that I didn't get blood clots or anything. So those were on my legs, and I was itching so bad underneath them. It sucked. So my pain did eventually kick in. I had IV pain meds for, I think for like the first 24 hours. I had IV pain meds. I was in the hospital for 2 days. And then they switched me over to oral pain meds. The pain wasn't too terrible. It was obviously uncomfortable. I got cut open. So there was pain. But they did start trying to get me up and moving. He's sleepy, so he wants to lay down some. That's Owen though. My little big man. So they did have me get up and moving. That was quite uncomfortable. After the first 24 hours, they wanted me to take a shower, and there was a tape that they had put over my incision that they either wanted me to get it, like soak it when I was in the shower and have the nurses come in to pull that tape off, or I could pull it off while I was in the shower. So we get up, we decide he was sleeping. We decide to go ahead and do my shower. And the water temperature in my room, you either got super cold or lukewarm. So I'm standing there trying to shower with Scott there helping me, shivering because I was freezing, in pain, trying to pull this tape off. It hurt. I had just given birth, so super emotional, super tired. So that turned into me sobbing because it hurt so bad. My body ached from all the shivering, from pulling the tape off. So that was the worst. That was awful. Okay. But we did get the tape off, and I spent quite a bit more time in bed after that. Aside from that, though, it was really uneventful. We had 2 days in the hospital, the day he was born and the next full day. So Monday and Tuesday. Lactation consultants came in to help work on his latching. And just me learning, obviously, after 10 years of trying to have a baby and not being able to, going through IUIs and IVF. I didn't know what I was doing. I've never tried to breastfeed before, so had lots of help there, had some super nice nurses. The doctors came in. Owen's doctor, which is also my primary care doctor, came in to check on him at least once a day. My doctor came in to check on me. But yeah, everything was great. He went in for his circumcision. Didn't make a peep there. The nurse came back and they were like, this kid is insane. He didn't cry. He didn't fuss. Nothing when they circumcised him. Didn't fuss when they took him for his hearing test. Kind of fussed a little bit. Kind of grumped, I'd say, when he got his first bath. We did wait a little over 24 hours, I think, before he got his first bath. But he did great. He did awesome. Was not fussy in the hospital. I've got a couple pictures that I'll insert of him right here in the hospital where you can see he clearly inherited mommy's attitude and did not appreciate being messed with. So that was it, really. Nothing too crazy there. Birth went perfectly fine. There was no issues with me. No excessive bleeding, no blood pressure issues, no heart rate issues, nothing. Everything was perfectly fine with me. Everything's great with him. It was fairly easy, simple birth. So that's what makes the next video that much more interesting. So I'm going to leave it at that for this video. Owen Charles is here, February 22nd, 2021. Happy, healthy, huge. The update with him, I took him for his 1 month appointment yesterday. Like I said, he's 7 weeks old now. He was 7 weeks yesterday. So he was born at 8 pounds, 14.5 ounces. By the time we left the hospital, he was at 8 pounds, 6 ounces, which is part of why we ended up giving him some formula. He weighed in at his 1 month appointment at 7 weeks old yesterday at 11 pounds, 12 ounces. He's now 23 inches. He's almost 2 feet tall already. He's not chunky. He's getting a little bit of the cheeks from mommy, but aside from that, he's just long and lanky. Just a big guy. He's going to be super tall. He's already in 3 to 6 month clothing. 3 to 6 month sleepers. So because he's so long, his 0 to 3 month sleepers still fit him around and they fit his arms, but his legs, they were kind of stopping his legs from fully going straight and squishing his little toes up because he's got big feet. So he's already in 3 to 6 month sleepers. Still fits in the 0 to 3 onesies and stuff like that. Great though. So he's just growing like crazy. He's doing awesome. Smiling. He just started smiling. I'll do a 1 month update video on him though soon. Or just an update. Oh no, we're getting fussy. Oh no, it's okay, baby. Oh no. Oh no. Okay. So I think we're going to leave it at that. The next video, we're going to talk about how 10 days after I had Owen, I almost died. So, legit almost died. Very close. So, leave it at that for now. I will catch you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, comment on the video. Welcome Owen to the family. But that's it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.